What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about handheld gaming and the differences in the design, both for software and hardware, from now and in ages past. To start, we're going to be talking about the most obvious one, which are the sizes of the consoles. The handheld gaming consoles of today are much, much larger than the ones of the past. You used to be able to easily put one in your pocket, but now you practically need a carrying case because not many people are going to have pockets large enough for something like a Nintendo Switch 2. Another thing about the hardware is that obviously it is a lot more powerful these days, which has led to, obviously, the biggest change, which is the software, the video games available on handheld consoles. See, these games used to be more limited than consoles in the home, which means that games were often shorter. But this is a good thing. For example, say I want to go out and I'm at a store and I decide I want to play a game. On something like Game Boy Advance, I could play Zelda Minish Cap. Within 40 minutes, I'm already inside of the second dungeon. If I brought a Switch or Switch 2, that same 40 minutes would get me off of the Great Plateau. I just did a tutorial at that point, and that's not nearly as fun. So that's, obviously a big change, is the games these days that you can play on your handhelds aren't made with handheld gaming in mind, which means they're a lot longer and you're not really going to be able to get as much done, which means if you only have time to do a little bit of gaming, for example, you're at work and you have a quick break and you want to play a game, getting something like a Game Boy, DS, PS Vita, PSP, you have tons of games where they're specifically made for you to be able to play a level or two, or play Tetris or something like that. And while games like that still do exist on modern handhelds, the vast majority of the exclusive games, for example, on a Nintendo Switch or Switch 2, are going to be much longer experiences that you really just can't do that with. And that's a big change, and in my opinion, a big downside. Another thing is the pricing. These handheld consoles just are not affordable anymore. And, obviously there's been expensive handheld consoles in the past before, but for example, in 2017, which is the year the Switch launched, I could get a Nintendo 2DS that came bundled with Mario Kart, and I could get 2 Nintendo Selects games for $120. The Nintendo Selects games, $20 each, which means I could get a Zelda game, a Mario game, and Mario Kart, and a console for $120. These days, you're spending at least $300, $350, and you're not getting a game with that. And if you're getting a Switch 2, you're spending at least $450, no game included. That's a big, big difference, and once again, I see that as a downside, especially for parents. If you're a parent, it's a lot easier to say, for example, for Christmas, you have 3 kids. Back then you could go to the Walmart and for the same price as a single Switch 2 or around there, you could get 3 Nintendo 2DS consoles, all of which had a game bundled in, and 2 games per kid. Compared to now, that same amount of money would get you just 1 Switch 2 with no games. And then, you have to have the kids sharing it, and that's a lot of money. If one of them drops it and it breaks, that's pretty unfortunate, and that's not going to be easily replaceable. So those are some of the big differences I've noticed. I know this is a bit of a shorter video, but I don't want to rant too long about this topic because I could go on for hours and hours. See ya.